welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. So, previously, about a week ago or so, there was the 4 million viewer comment by Jason Sarlanis, an executive at Warner Brothers, who says that AEWDynamite brings in 4 million viewers to their network every single week. So, of course, that was very suspicious. And it was very suspicious to everyone. So, obviously, it was so suspicious to WrestleNomics that they looked into it. So, I have to give them credit for this. They actually looked into it. But it was worse. The response they got was worse than the theory that I put out there. So, let's first talk about my theory. I thought it was obviously an embellishment of what, AEW's actual viewership is. But I said maybe it's international. Maybe it includes streaming. No, that's not what they're including. They're literally including anything on TBS between 7 o'clock and 12 o'clock. That's literally, they're attributing it all to AEW. You think I'm lying? This is from Brandon Thurston at WrestleNomics. It came out February the 24th, which would be Friday. It said, we asked Warner Brothers Discovery about the comment by executive Jason Sarlanis from Wednesday's press release announcing AEW All Access, where he said AEW fan base brings in more than 4 million viewers to TBS every Wednesday night. The comment was surprising because AEW's audience on TBS is commonly measured to be about 1/4 of that number, averaging 960,000 viewers in 2022, according to WrestleNomics data. We're told by Warner Brothers Discovery that the 4 million measurement refers to the number of viewers who watched at least 1 minute of TBS on Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. each week on average in 2022. A Warner Brothers Discovery spokesperson told WrestleNomics, quote, we attribute most of that success to AEWDynamite. Sarlanis, who is the president of Turner Networks, ID, and HLN, said in the press release that, quote, AEW has such an amazingly loyal and dedicated fan base that brings in more than 4 million viewers to TBS every Wednesday night. Dynamite airs from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Wednesdays. The 4 million figure would therefore include non-AEW programming from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. to 12 a.m., meaning the count includes viewership from The Big Bang Theory, among the best performing reruns on cable. In the hour before Dynamite, it will include programming airing after Dynamite in 2022 also, which was often other rerun shows like Young Sheldon. Dynamite's 960,000 viewer average for last year, as well as the typical ratings data reported by outlets like WrestleNomics and Showbuzz Daily, are minute-by-minute averages throughout the duration of the program. Those numbers reflect the count of viewers who watched live or same day, as opposed to reflecting the unique count of viewers who watched for at least 1 minute. It's unclear if Warner Brothers Discovery's 4 million number includes DVR viewership through the 7 days after the air date, which would help bring that number higher. In the newest WrestleNomics 30 podcast for subscribers, we had a breakdown of how many unique viewers on average for at least 1 minute watched each major WWE and AEW program in 2023 year to date. We learned that, according to Nielsen so far, Dynamite averages 2.9 million unique viewers who watched for at least 1 minute of the show within 7 days of it airing. For a comparison, WWE's Monday Night Raw on USA averages 4.8 million by that methodology. For AEW Rampage on TNT, the number is 1.3 million. For WWE SmackDown on Fox, 6.9 million. And for WWE NXT on USA, 2.0 million. It's notable that within a threshold as low as 1 minute, this methodology could be counting many viewers who accidentally tune into a program before quickly tuning out. So what did we learn from this? Well, we learned that if you count minute by minute and unique viewers, unique being different people watching at different times, so you can't count the same person twice. So that means at least, what was it? They said 1.9 million people or whatever looked at AEW. Well, 2.9. I'm sorry. Looked at AEW at least once before changing the channel. That would mean literally nothing to advertisers, which is what this press release was supposed to be for. If you're an advertiser and somebody looked at a program for literally 1 minute before changing away, well, that 1 minute can be explained in any myriad of ways. You forgot to change the network when you were watching Big Bang Theory. You tuned in early when you tried to watch something that came on, or let's say Power Slap. You turned in early and Dynamite was still on. You misthought the numbers, and instead of changing to a different network, you ended up on Dynamite. It could be anything. This is scumbag mathematics. All right. It would have been funny and kind of sad if it was Tony Khan. It's utterly, gutturally, viscerally pathetic that it's the network. That a network executive is looking at a 5-hour block and saying, anybody watching TBS at all, anywhere in the country, between 7 and 12, well, we're just going to attribute that to Dynamite. Look, come on. Even if you want to say, well, it shows at a different time in different places. That might be your argument. Time zones, they exist, brother. What's 8 o'clock in New York is not 8 o'clock in California. All right. But at the same time, you're still going minute by minute. That's your methodology. Your methodology is minute by minute for the most part. That's your stated methodology. It's not, hey, time zones exist, bro, and Nielsen focuses on one time zone or some kind. That will be a failure in Nielsen's methodology. No, it's TBS making the argument that if you watched TBS at all on a Wednesday, then you must be tuning in to watch Dynamite. That's ridiculous. If I was an advertiser, I would be like, what's this? What is this? Now, as far as I know about advertising, they do sell in packages and in blocks. So they don't really do a lot of targeted advertising on the network level. So something like Domino's or something like a Pizza Hut or whatever would advertise throughout the network rather than just for this particular show. But you also need to be able to sell this particular show. You get what I'm saying? So there's probably partnerships between the sponsors and the advertisers rather, and the network to agreed upon ads or whatever. But then there's that particular block of time where, hey, I want to have specific ads for this specific audience, like the P18 to 35 or whatever. That's my understanding of how advertising works. That could be a little bit wrong, could be a little bit crude, it could be off or whatever. But that's my understanding of how advertising works. Is YouTube has the same type of thing, where there's general advertisers for YouTube, and then there's advertising specifically for this specific kind of product. Like there's different advertising for news than it is for entertainment, and different advertising for children than it is for adults, etc. That kind of thing. So I would imagine television works similarly. Streaming will work similarly. So in that way, if you're an advertiser, how can you possibly place an ad on Dynamite, specifically for Dynamite, when TBS is looking at a damn 5-hour block? How can that be? How can you sit and say, you know what? I want to make sure my commercial is situated perfectly for a specific audience that I'm looking forward to. But TBS is coming to you saying, yeah, basically 7 to 12. At any point between that, you're advertising on Dynamite. And everybody's looking like, how long is this show? It's 2 hours. It's literally it's a 2-hour show, but we're looking at a 5-hour block. And everybody's looking like, what? Well, DVR and West Coast and Mountain Time exists and Pacific Time exists. It's like, well, come on. This comes off because it's really sad. Now, I could go on and on about how the network executive must be a mark, but he has to be. he's got to try to sell advertising and make this thing seem like it's a big deal so that people will advertise and want to watch it. But when you blow out of proportion as much as they did, it becomes suspicious, and you come across like a scumbag, and you come across like somebody that can't be trusted. Now, unless I'm completely wrong, and maybe advertisers don't mind that kind of thing, which if I was an advertiser, I would mind, because I would want to know exactly where my commercials are going to land, and I don't, if you're a Domino's Pizza, you don't want your commercials being played while the guy's in the ring with a pizza cutter. You don't want that, do you? So to me, it comes across as real scumbag behavior. I had to use Tony Khan because I don't have a picture of the guy, but for AEW to be, used this way, to me is very sad. At least it's not Tony Khan. If Tony Khan starts to repeat it, then maybe I'll say, okay, scumbag behavior. But to me, it coming across as very sad that the network is so desperate to make people believe that Dynamite is like this super big deal. And it is a big deal, it's a decent draw for the network. You don't need to embellish this much. Your methodology is absolutely shit. And then only 1 minute. The average commercial is like 2 minutes, isn't it? Or like 90 seconds. So the average that they will be using is less than the length of a commercial. I don't get it, man. Maybe you guys can explain it to me. Let me know what's going on and what you think. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.